All right. Hi, everybody. I am going to go through this presentation. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning. This is getting us ready for our PPP loan projects. And so I wanted to go through a brief tutorial to kind of tell you what that's going to look like. So this PPP number 2 program is our SWOT analysis of the 17 different programs that we think might be great opportunities for Galaxy. So as we get going, you're going to refer to the document that will be shared with you. It's called PPP number 2 Program SWOT Analysis Project. And so that's the document we're going to be working as a team off of. And within that document, there will be other docs and Google Classrooms that you will be working within. So the purpose of this SWOT analysis is really to give us a quick synopsis of whether this program is something that we need to delve deeper into, spend more time developing, or whether it's something that, really isn't a priority for us at the time. So the SWOT analysis is going to be done anywhere between 6 hours if you're kind of on the quick side of doing things, to 12 hours if your program is kind of a pretty thorough one. That is if you make it through all, I think there are 7 steps of the process. But if you get through step 1 and stop and meet with me, and we just decide it's probably not something we worth pursuing, we might assign you another project to work on, because we don't want to spend a whole lot of time on projects that aren't going to make financial sense. So that's one of the reasons. We want to select 3 to 5 of these programs that we want to put more time, investment, marketing efforts into. And so if your SWOT analysis ends up being a project that isn't something we want to move forward with, that just means that of the 3 to 5 that we do want to move forward with, you'd get reassigned to work on projects to push those other programs through. We want to make sure we are choosing the ones that have the best return on investment, and that this is a great way to keep us moving forward with this PPP loan, and kind of having this collaborative teamwork effort. So there will be stopping points within the SWOT analysis, and it will tell you exactly how much time that you should spend on each section. And there'll be a stopping point where you need to meet with me to kind of discuss what you've discovered, and if we need to look at any other different aspects of that particular part of it, or whether we can move on with the program and keep investigating further. So I have a Candly account, and there is a link in the document. This is it. You can use it now and into the future. I thought this would be a great way for anyone to set up appointments with me to discuss all of these PPP projects, but also if you ever want to talk to me in the future about anything, this is a great way to schedule. In addition, we want to make sure that the numbers that we're using are really accurate. And so in order to do that, you really want to make sure that you're researching what our reimbursement rates are and not just guessing. So in the document, it's not there yet, but it will be by the time the document's shared with you. There'll be a link to our current Galaxy reimbursement rates that you can reference. It's by insurance company. There's also, I'm trying to get a link to the proposed non-Medicare fee schedule that will be proposed to the state in House Bill 5858. That has not been officially shared. I have requested it by MBIPC to see if I can get it for internal purposes only. And I don't have that yet, but I'm going to work on that. And that non-Medicare fee schedule would be what auto would reimburse for any of the services that are not Medicare. We know that Medicare services, auto will reimburse up to 200% of that amount, but not more than that. So if we currently charge $120 for something and 200% of that is $140, we are not going to get an increase. We are going to get our 120, whatever we charged before. So it's up to 200%, but it will not go over anything that we made previously. And then anything that you think would work with the veterans, there'll be a veterans fee schedule there as well. So You will find your assignments and the due dates on the document that's shared. These are the assignments that I threw out there. When Courtney looks at that, she may reassign some things to different people based on conversations that you've had with her. So this is not the final, but this is one of the documents that we shared. You'll notice there's a March 2nd due date and a March 15th due date. These will take anywhere between 6 to 12 hours. If you know that you can't do that, you either don't have time to do it because you're seeing too many clients or you don't want the extra hours, then just let us know and we'll reassign it to someone else that does want the extra hours. Also, if you're assigned to something and you've already kind of been working on something else or you have a passion for something else, you can always ask to trade with someone. Just do it early and let us know ahead of time. So the first step in getting started is going to be logging into what we are going to have as a Google Classroom. And when you look back in this link right here next to the program, there will be a Google Classroom link for each person. So each program will have its own Google Classroom link. That's something that Jessie is working on today. And I have a sample Google Classroom link that I created. So I am going to log on to that and open it up so you can take a look at what this will look like. So this sample PPP loan project program SWOT, this is one of the classrooms that I have. If I look at this, I have added the documents that I want completed for this class. And so we're going to go through that so you can take a look at what it is. This PPP program SWOT, this is the document that you will find and that we will share with you eventually that does have, it looks like Jessie's working on it now. Good job, Jessie. It will have basically the link to my calendar on it. It will have the link to this video on it. It will have the link to the proposed fee schedules on it. And then it will have a classroom link right here for each of the different programs. What you're going to do is put the date that you started the analysis, and then you will put kind of what step you're on. Are you on step 1 or step 2 or step 3? And then let's say the program, if it's progressing, whether it's discontinued, it was discontinued maybe at step 4 or discontinued at step 3. That way we can have a running total of where it was at and why it was discontinued. And then we're going to keep all this information in our Google Classroom. So when I go back to that Google Classroom, my documents are here. You can add, when you want to add something, you can add a class comment here. You will also have the ability to announce something to your class. And here is where I'd announce, and I might want to attach, I might announce, here is a great resource. Okay, so you might have found a great resource and you might add that resource. You can add a link, a file, anything like that, a YouTube video. So as you're going through, you might be adding resources. So what you're going to be assigned as the SWOT analysis is this right here. Step 1 is you're going to investigate a minimum of 5 comparative programs in our geographical area and 2 kind of outside Michigan. So we want to look at what's happening in this area and then what maybe is happening that other states are doing that we're not doing in Michigan. So you're going to look at those program names, the location, what kind of services they provide, what kind of alternative services they might be providing, and what their fee, pay, or structure is, which means you might be calling them. You're going to be, checking online, but you might be calling them to ask. You might have to say that you're looking at this for a client or for a family member and see what their program details are, but we're going to try and investigate comparative programs to the one that we might want to develop. Step 2 is you're looking at some financial analysis and projections. And so in order to do that, you're really going to identify some of these overhead costs, what our break-even numbers would be, identify what our the min number of participants if it's a group, or the max number of participants for profitability, and also any kind of cost saving ideas for increased profitability. So you're going to write some of these ideas right here next to these bullets, and you're going to look at that and kind of summarize it. As a part of that, you're also going to fill out this projections analysis. And so this right here is a link to the actual Google Sheets that does the projections. But in your classroom, let me go back. Where is the classroom? There we go. If you go back to the classroom, this budget is right here. So part of step 1 is finding the competitors, comparing in the area. Part of step 2 is step 1 also is performing this budget. And for those of us who are more program based, this is going to feel scary. For those of us who are very financially based, this is going to be fun. But trust me, I've tried to make this as easy as possible to use. And so what this is the top part of the sheet is the expenses and overhead. And the green section is dynamic. You're going to put your information into that green section. You're not going to do anything with the yellow section, the purple section, or the red section. So let's say I want to start a program, and I'm going to call it the summer camp. Okay, so I'm going to look at summer camp, and the initial startup supplies, a one-time purchase for this summer camp. Let's say I have to purchase some items for it, some smaller tables or something, and I have about $250 in startup costs. I know I need at least one therapist, and so the therapist hourly wage, I'm going to anticipate that our cost at, let's just say, I'm going to make it easy, $50. And I want, it's going to be for, I only need one of those therapists. And I'm going to say it's a 6-hour day, and the camp is going to be, let's say we have it for 6 days. So 6 hours a day for 6 days. Okay. An assistant, let's say we need an assistant. Let's say I don't need an assistant. I'm going to take techs instead. So I'm going to take techs. I'm going to put our out the door costs as 18 for some techs. I'm going to need, let's say I need 2 of those techs to run the camp at the same 6 hours for the same 12 visits. Okay. Cleaning service, let's say we need to have our cleaning service it'll probably cost $20 a day to clean for 1 hour, one cleaning service, 1 hour, and we're going to do that every time someone comes. And I do need to have administration there, so I'm going to have someone checking in, and so we're going to estimate that at $30 because I'm including like overhead costs and that kind of stuff. So some things you might have to ask me like about how much do you think that would cost. I am going to look at, I need one of those for that same 6 hours for the same 12 visits. Okay, and we decided that's all the staff we need right now. We don't need to add any other staff. Let's say we decided we were going to work with a $100 marketing budget, and that every day we're supplying the campers with a snack of some sort that we estimated at $5 per person. And we have 12 sessions, so that is your 12 sessions. Do we have any tech support with the camper? No, we don't really have any tech support that's going to cost us any money. And we decided that we really don't have any external costs other than the daily supplies. So now we come down and we're looking at rental space, because we want to also consider the amount of space that this camp is going to take up, and we have to consider the square footage of the space that we have. So we look at rental space. Let's say we are going to want 600 square feet for those 6 hours for those 12 days. We're not renting anything outside. This is where if you decided, okay, we were gonna maybe bring in an outside consultant or an outside, we were gonna go to a special place and make our camp something special. But here is something that we are gonna decided to rent. So we are gonna rent tents for outside for the camp, because this is gonna be an outdoor tent at $50 a day for the 12 days. Actually, when we include the weekends, it turns out to be 16 days we want that tent rental. I'm throwing these numbers out there. Obviously, we're going to be budgeting, but this is kind of how you fill it out. So then, here's your income opportunity. So we're going to call this a 12-day camp. And I'm going to copy that and paste it. Paste, and I'm going to paste it here too. Okay, so let's say we decide that if you're looking at this camp, and we look at income opportunity, and we decide this camp should be, let's say this camp, we think for 6 hours, it should be price per camper, 6 hours. I'm gonna expand this so we can see what this says, because I believe it was price per class. So this would be a per day rate. So the price per class at 6 hours, let's say we go with $20 an hour times 6 hours. So let's say we make it $120 a day. So then let's say, okay, let's see what happens when we make it $150 a day. And let's see what happens when we make it $175 a day. And let's see what happens when we make it $200 a day. Okay, so this is a per class. So I made it 1 hour, but if we decided we wanted to do it per hour and make it 6 here, you could change it that way. So at $120, the camp costs, the camp price is $1,400 for that camper, all the way up to at $200 an hour, it's $2,400. So we kind of look over here, the total cost to run the camp for those 12 days is $12,000. So with one participant, we're losing money. We don't actually make money at these rates until per camper, actually at 12, let's see, even at 12 campers, 12 participants, we're really not making money. So we have to adjust our budget. So if we look at, we need to make this $200 a day. See what happens. We'll do $225. So at $225 a day, at $250 a day, at $275 a day, and at $300 a day. Okay, we start making money when the camp gets to be seven participants. And so when you look at, this is the price per person profitability, and then you look down here at what happens when we start adding profitability for the campers. It looks like something might be off in this calculation because there shouldn't be profitability with these two. So I'll have to look at that calculation. But this will help you to decide what your budget is. So you will look at this and say, there's no way someone's going to pay $225. So maybe what we need to do is look at the overhead overall price. Do we have to do 2 techs, or can we get away with 1? Maybe we decide we do the cleaning service, and so we don't add that. So we get rid of the cleaning service, and we decide that's not something we want. Let's say we decide that we found someone that would rent it for $20 a day and not $50. So we saved money there. Let's say that I have someone calling me. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Let's get back to, I know what happened. Hi, Sarah. Okay, bye. All right, sorry about that. So this is something that you kind of got to play around with. And so we have to decide, are people going to pay for this? We look at this total rent space. Let's say, this space is taking up a lot of square footage for a lot of number of days, but is that space that otherwise would not go, not get used? And if that's the case, then what happens if we just take this down to 0? And what can we make, we use that to factor in so everyone sees how much it actually costs. Right now, it does cost us money to rent every month, but let's just see what happens when we take that number down. We start making some money at these rates after 3 participants. And so if we have 3 participants at these different rates, this is rate 1, rate 2, rate 3, rate 4, these numbers just kind of flow down here. You can start seeing the total class profit. If we have 4 participants, we have the opportunity over those 12 classes to make $5,000. And so this is where, you look at total, the 12-day camp, we have the opportunity to make $20,000 with 7 participants over that period of time. Now, obviously, these numbers are just sample numbers, but it is it's a way for us to kind of practice and go back and forth and spend some time playing around with what-if scenarios to find the best scenario that you think would work, and that's a possibility. Tab 2 down here at the bottom is just a supply list. So if there are things that we need to budget for and supply, you would put that there, the amount, the link to it, and what it is that we would need for that. So going back to the sample, if you get to that and you stop and review it with me, step 1 was the comparative programs. Step 2 was that financial document. That's where you stop. So after step 2, you're going to stop and you're going to make a Calendly appointment with me, and we're going to look at those numbers and see if there's financial solvency to keep going. If there is, then we're going to proceed. If there isn't, we're going to look at some remediation plans, like what could we do to look into to see if there is some financial solvency. So after we review it for step 3 and make a decision what to do, step 4, if we're approved to continue, you'll do a full SWOT analysis. And SWOT is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so in this strengths, this is about 15 to 30 minutes. I'm going to tell a quick story. There was a client of mine that I took to detail a car with that classic car company that I used to take some clients to. And the guy had said, I want you to detail this engine, but he didn't give him parameters. And so my client was so excited, and he had detailed, like, he had cleaned this part of the engine that was about this much, but it took him like 3 hours and it looked brand new. But the owner, what we didn't realize is the owner didn't want this to be a project that was like a 2 or 3 week project. He wanted that car to be able to be turned back over to its owner that next business day. And so because he didn't give us any guidance on how thorough to do the job, we failed. We didn't we spent so much time on the details, and we were so proud of those details, but we actually failed the mission. And so this time frame is to give you an idea of how much we can dedicate to this, and kind of put limits on the amount of time we spend in each of these sections. And so your PPP project is kind of limited by this time, but it also is just to give you some guidance so that not to overdo it or underdo it based on how much time this should take. So if you look at that that step 2, working on that financial analysis and kind of playing with some numbers, that should take about an hour to figure out, kind of playing with those numbers back and forth and seeing if we can create a program that makes sense moving forward. Step 3, that conversation that we have is probably going to be 30 minutes to an hour, kind of reviewing that. Step 4 is that SWOT analysis. So you'll take about 15 to 30 minutes to look at, based on that program, what are some financial trends? So what are strengths? What are some Galaxy internal strengths? So the strengths section is looking at our Galaxy as it is internally. What are some of our strengths with financial trends? Well, right now our strength is we do have a PPP loan that is helping us. I think financial opportunities are there, if you were doing that kids camp, are there opportunities because parents are looking for, a place to help put their kids for a week at a time so they can go to work or they can do things? Are there opportunities from a management side that maybe, we have, let's say we have the management to be able to run the camp. We have maybe we have students that are there that can help run, and we have different, HR resources to do the camp. What are our strengths when it comes to skills and expertise? We have people that are brain gym trained, and we have people that are MNRI trained. What are some collaborative partnerships? Well, some of it is, we're doing a lunch and learn with IHA pediatrics coming up in March, and we had a lunch and learn with a neuropsych company that does pediatrics. And so those are partnerships that would be able to fund some of our camps, and any other internal strengths. But then you go on to the weaknesses. Again, 15 to 30 minutes of looking at what these weaknesses are. We don't have a peds team, right? So we would have to make sure that, the pediatric therapists that we do have are willing to do it, and they have the availability. There's a lot of training involved. We would be working with our techs or support personnel to help to train them. Some of the weaknesses is we've never run this particular camp before, so there's a lot of program development needed. And so you're kind of looking through what are our internal weaknesses that's going to be potential barriers for us to be able to run this. The next section is opportunities. So it will take, this is going to take anywhere between 1 and 2 hours, because we're really looking at what are our resources, what are opportunities, what are networking opportunities that would help us be able to grow this program and implement this program. And so now now we're looking at external opportunities. What outside of Galaxy can we tap into to help us run this program? And so it might be we have contacts at the school systems. We have, a pediatric particular provider that's really excited about this. We have different psychologists that are asking, or we have people inquiring about what programs we offer. So what are the external opportunities? And these bullet points, what are some external financial trends? What are external collaboratives? What are some external things that, information sharing and marketing? Maybe there's a forum that we can be a part of that would be a great place for us to have an opportunity to spread this program. The last section of SWOT is identifying the threats. And again, another 1 to 2 hours looking at what are the threats. What are, for instance, world and US issues. So we have COVID that we have to deal with. Are people going to send their kids to a camp during COVID? Do we have to have this camp outside the whole time? What does that look like? Will we need rain dates? What are the challenges? Well, financial challenges. Are parents going to be able to private pay for this type of a thing with people out of jobs? Like, there's a lot of threats. Do we have competitors in the area that are doing a similar camp that we can't compete with because of some of the issues, but then you go back up to opportunities like, could we combine some therapy with some private pay? I don't know. The next section of this is social determinants of health. And this is something that CARF likes us to do with every program. Is this program able to somehow meet some economic stability for people? Is it able to meet, here we go, another call. Hey, can I call you right back? I'm in the middle of recording something. I'm going, but I haven't done it yet. Sure. Okay, bye. Okay, back where we were. Okay. Social determinants of health is, do you have, is there something we can do with this program that would actually help with food, hunger, social issues, healthcare? Is there a neighborhood? Is there a satellite where this program could happen, maybe outside of Galaxy, that would really meet the needs of a particular community? So those are some ideas that we can consider and think about. Also thinking about regulatory and legislative environment. Does that affect this program at all? Can we utilize technology to support this program? Is there any technology things that we need to consider in order to implement? And then kind of overall, any kind of surveys. So this data review and collection review is really, can you create a survey and send it out to some people and see what it is that they need? So if you can find surveys that are already done somewhere, or you create a survey and send it to a school system or a provider, and see if they'll fill out a survey to kind of collect some data on what people are looking for, or if there has been surveys, kind of referencing some surveys to help us make some decisions. And I don't actually know that is actually going to take 5 to 10 minutes. I think I've got to probably change that, because if you are looking at surveys, that's going to take a little longer, or creating them or researching them. I will change that. Once you've done that SWOT analysis, step 5 is to stop and meet with me again to kind of look at that and decide, okay, is it still good to continue? Do we have too many threats? Not enough opportunities? Can we overcome some of these threats or these hurdles and still make it work or not? Or is this one that we just might need to table because while it's a good idea, it's probably not one of the 3 to 5 we should press forward with at the moment? Or maybe it is. And so if it is, and it's determined that we keep going with this, then we're going to look at the strategic planning. What are we going to do to implement this. What are we going to do in the strengths section, looking at our strengths? What are some goals we can do based on these strengths? In our weaknesses section, what are some goals that we can do based on the weaknesses we have and some things we need to do to address that? What are goals in the opportunity section and what are goals in the threat section? And so it's creating goals and then potentially and then assigning responsible people and action steps and deadlines for these goals to happen. This part also is looking at how are these goals helping to empower positive change? How are these goals helping to build trusting relationships? And how are these goals helping to move forward and give back? So once those goals are in place, we will meet again and we'll start developing a team that is going to be working more intensely on this particular project. So that team will be assigned and we'll oversee the goals and kind of create a plan for getting those goals going. And then if that all looks great, then we will move forward with a marketing campaign and we will look at the goals for marketing and we'll look at a marketing development. But we won't add the marketing until kind of step 8. And so we have a lot of communication that happens between now and then. And the faster we can get through this and the faster we can all, just really embrace this process. I know it is a tedious process, but if we can embrace the process and really be looking at this as a collaborative effort and a way for us all to get on the same page and think through all of the details, think through big picture and little picture planning, I think that we will do great things. So if you have any questions, I'm going to go back to this classroom. This classroom I will be assigned to the classroom, and then anyone working on this project with you might eventually get assigned to the classroom. But this classroom will be a way for us to communicate back and forth to each other, send information, download information. Again, the assignments will be in here. Jesse's going to pre-program all of those. And then as you announce something to your class, you're going to add documents in this section. And so we'll keep a running sample of all the things and all of the progress that these classes are making. If you have any questions, let me know. If not, this video is over. Bye all. Thank you.